In the Baroque hall, time seems to slow down. Here, music reigns supreme. Each sound fills the space, almost enveloping it, and reflects off the mirrors. It is here that Tatyana Vitsinskaya rehearses her aria before the concert. There is no stage, no spotlights, just a truly intimate interaction. The voice sounds so close, so personal. It feels as though the music speaks to you directly, without intermediaries.
I want to create an atmosphere of another reality, another time, a different era where the rhythms of life are much slower than they are now. In today's modern world, with its technologies, time is constantly rushing forward. We try to hold it back, but can't keep up. Morning comes, we plan our day, start our tasks, and suddenly it's night again. This wheel inevitably spins forward at great speed. Time seems to have compressed. This music, however, exists in a completely different rhythm of life. Even when my lesson with the pianist lasts an hour, it feels like 3 hours to me because this music slows down the process and the passage of time.
Vitsinskaya works not only on technique but also on emotional depth. She doesn't simply rehearse here her part, she lives it anew each time, as if for the first time, as if for the audience or even for the composer himself, in this case, Bach. And it seems that here, within these Baroque walls, this music sounds as it was once intended, alive, sincere, and profoundly soulful.
Performing the music of Bach, Handel, Vivaldi, essentially Baroque music, is, the dream of any musician. But not everyone succeeds in this. It requires a lot of work, especially on the vision of sound and, most importantly, on breath control and the smoothness of tone. Many years ago, when I was in Italy, I heard a lot of this music and always dreamed of performing it. And now, here on the soil of Kazakhstan, this opportunity has given to me. Naturally, I will perform the music of Handel, Bach and Vivaldi with great pleasure.
They say that if you listen to Bach for long enough, you may gain enlightenment. And if you play his music, you may touch eternity. What if you dedicate an entire festival to him? In that case, you will most likely find yourself in Kazakhstan's capital, where Baroque has found a new home. It is here, within the walls of Astana Opera, that the Bach Festival takes place, a celebration of music where time dissolves and the 18th century harmonizes with the present. This is because the music of Bach and his contemporaries is not just a museum exhibit, but a living organism, deep, complex and wise. Anyone who has heard it filling the space of a grand hall knows that Baroque cannot leave you indifferent. It penetrates within, expands the soul's horizons, and for a while lifts you above everyday life.
Вы знаете, ученые говорят, что музыка Баха...
Scientists say that Bach's music is the music of the universe because it's so soul-piercing, so rich, it truly feels as vast as the universe. There is simply no other way to describe it.
Богато, реально как Вселенная. По-другому не скажешь.
Today, on this stage, it's not just music, it's heritage. It's a conversation with the geniuses of the past transformed into sheet music, the breath of instruments and living voices. The festival Johann Sebastian Bach and his contemporaries is an invitation to hear how intellect resonates, how emotions think, how history remains relevant, if performed authentically.
Недавно я услышала импровизации джазовые.
Recently, I heard jazz improvisations based on Bach, and suddenly I realized that he's truly eternal. Regardless of the era or the time his music is played, it can resonate differently, which naturally makes it captivating for a wide range of listeners. Honestly, I was amazed at how harmoniously his music fits with jazz.
Меня поразило, что как гармонично его музыка ложится на джаз.
And if anyone still thinks that Baroque is strict, heavy, and overly academic, then they haven't been to Astana Opera. Here, this music feels like an effortless conversation with the classics, with Bach, with Vivaldi, a conversation through music that speaks without words, yet resonates more clearly than any verbal dialogue. Aysulu Baykanova is an honored artist of Kazakhstan, soloist of the symphony orchestra, musician, visionary, idea generator, and the star violinist of tonight's performance. It was her who said, "Why not organize a festival? After all, it's Bach's anniversary this year."
Конечно, мы не могли обойти стороной.
Of course, we couldn't overlook such a significant occasion. For every musician, Bach is monumental, a titan whose work is explored throughout one's entire life. And even then, there is never enough time to fully grasp it.
У него богатая музыка. И, конечно же, очень хотелось.
His music is incredibly rich. Naturally, I was eager to host an event, a series of concerts dedicated to this great composer. And what truly inspired this idea was his famous second partita, the Shakan, written for solo violin.
Вторая партита его, знаменитая Чекона, написанная для скрипки.
I had this deep desire to perform this piece not in its original solo violin form, but arranged for a chamber orchestra.
Сыграть не в оригинале, как это звучит, скрипка-соло, а именно камерным оркестром.
340 years. Just imagine, music composed 3 centuries before TikTok, before electricity became mainstream. Certainly, Bach could never have conceived of Spotify, yet somehow his music sounds as if it was created yesterday. It's incredibly important. 3 whole days of concerts dedicated to the great Bach. Not every philharmonic hall, not every theater can afford to host such projects. And we are deeply grateful to our theater for making this possible. Firstly, it's the music of Bach, a great composer, and it's a tremendous experience and joy to play such music. Secondly, it's the musicians around us are wonderful people. Aysulu Baykanova assembled an outstanding group of musicians. It's truly a pleasure to spend time with them, rehearse, and go through this entire rehearsal process. It's an exchange of experience, an exchange of energy. If the cello had a voice, it would speak in low, soft tones tinged with a gentle sadness, just like Kurbanjan Akatov, a cellist, a thinker, a touch of melancholy, a serious man with an instrument he, by his own admission, didn't fall in love with immediately. My father is a cellist. He also works here, in the theater. I don't think there are many children who actually wanted to study music as kids, honestly. I was forced, of course. He brought me a cello before I was even born, 2 years before my birth. It was for his son, so I had no choice. When I was 5, he sat me down with the instrument. By the 7th or 8th grade, you start to realize that this is yours, something you can dedicate yourself to. It's wonderful. That's when you start to like it. Since then, he's played as though the cello is not just an instrument, but an extension of himself. His parts in the Brandenburg Concerto are not mere accompaniment, they're almost monologues. Deep, honest, and a little stubborn. This isn't just music, it's a dialogue, sometimes even an argument, but always a beautiful one. And just when it seems impossible to add more beauty, she takes the stage. Tatyana Vitsinskaya. Her voice in a Bach aria isn't just a part, it's a confession without words, a prayer without an altar. Even if you don't understand German, you'll understand everything, because a true voice needs no translation. It is as universal as Bach's music itself.
Мне очень интересно выступить на этом.
I'm very excited to perform at this festival because it represents a new role for me as an artist. I have played many vibrant roles and striking characters where you are shielded by costumes and scenery. But here, in a concert, you have direct contact with the audience and you need to deliver an absolutely ideal version, professionally and musically. The music, style, nuances, they are all like higher mathematics. So for me, this will be a completely new experience, especially with Baroque and Bach's music. It's like mathematics. Everything needs to be precise and clear, with no deviations allowed.
Astana Opera is a theater that not only masters classical works, but also inspires the creation of new ones. Here, Baroque music coexists alongside Verdi, Kazakh symphonies neighbor French Impressionism, and between rehearsals and performances, you might meet a cellist dreaming of electronic compositions or a conductor whose playlist features Beyoncé alongside Bach. Astana Opera is more than a theater. It's a cultural hub, a creative laboratory, and if you will, an elite club for enthusiasts. Admission is based solely on a love of music.
You know, I want to give the audience an opportunity to pause, simply stop and immerse themselves in another time, another music, another era. They can imagine and feel whatever they wish. Each member of the audience rests in their own way. Everyone has their own reason for coming to the hall. Some come not only to listen to music, but to recharge with emotions, to feel the music, to awaken feelings within themselves. And perhaps to stop for a brief moment for the sake of the music.
The Bach Festival is like a vintage record suddenly connected to a speaker system. It may be from the past, but its sound is timeless, resonating as though it was created for today. And therein lies the magic. Ancient music brought to life by living people. Festivals at Astana Opera are frequent occurrences, each one its own little universe. The Baroque Music Festival is just one planet in this musical galaxy.
Очень благодарна я нашему коллективу, конкретно нашему оркестру.
I'm deeply grateful to our ensemble, particularly our orchestra, for their enthusiasm and participation in this festival. In my opinion, our ensemble is one of the best in the country. It's a tremendous honor and pleasure for me that our ensemble is part of this project. Many soloists from our group will perform in these programs, and there will also be ensembles. For example, the Brandenburg Concerto No. 3 is a concerto for ensembles of 10 musicians. The Brandenburg concertos are essentially a treasure trove of world music. We were eager to showcase as many of our musicians as possible. This concept provides an opportunity to present our ensemble to the audiences. 10 soloists, each with their own solo part. You might think it's a mini orchestra, but it's not. It's this small ensemble that will present the audience with the full 3-movement concerto. A highly virtuosic one at that.
Это вот такой маленький ансамбль, который представит публике целый концерт из 3 частей. Вот, достаточно
I wanted the audience to immediately appreciate our orchestra. Soloists are always in the spotlight, which is understandable, but I wanted to open the festival with our ensemble.
И всегда это как бы вот понятное дело. Но мне вот хотелось именно открыть фестиваль нашим коллективом.
The festival aims to become an annual tradition. Spanning several days, it won't just be a series of concerts. It will be a true musical series, complete with a storyline, characters, and a climax.
Благодарим вас за внимание и ждем вас на концертах.
Thank you.